Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inclusion Coach. I'm Rebecca and I'm your inclusion coach. Welcome back. How did you get on last week with trying to overcome your natural need to be right? Full disclosure, I didn't do so great, but I did have a few successes. This week, we're talking about something that also needs us to notice and be self-aware in interactions with people. This week, we're talking about reaction versus response. At first glance, you might be thinking, well, reaction, response, tomato, potato, patata. The difference is that our subconscious mind drives our reactions and our conscious mind chooses our response. So think about a physical reaction that you would have without even thinking about it. Maybe somebody raises their hand to hit you. You don't respond to it. You react to it. You just jerk yourself out of the way to avoid being hurt. That's your subconscious keeping you safe. Today, we're talking about psychological reaction when we speak or act without thinking. And bearing in mind that our subconscious mind drives about 95% of our lives, that's quite a lot of room for reaction and not much for response. So a psychological reaction may be when you're having an argument with somebody, when they criticize you, your first instinct is to fire a criticism back. Psychological reaction in an inclusion context may be talking to the person pushing the wheelchair instead of the person in the wheelchair. I've heard and seen many Black men talking about their experience of walking along the road towards a white woman who instinctively grabs her bag a bit harder just because they're a Black man. And a psychological reaction at work may be if someone comes to you and reports an incident of racism. Our immediate response might be, no, they didn't mean it. They were just joking. I think you took that the wrong way. That's often the reaction that happens. And what does that reaction do? It shuts down the conversation. It avoids a difficult conversation, an uncomfortable conversation. And that conversation never happens. So let's think about how we can respond rather than react. This idea is attributed to Viktor Frankl, who was a writer, philosopher, and Holocaust survivor. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I find that idea quite mind-blowing. And I also find being guided by my subconscious mind 95% of the time quite mind-blowing as well. Imagine if all of us could interrupt our subconscious, could interrupt our thought habits, and allow our conscious mind to take over. Just a little bit more. Imagine what impact that would have on our relationships, on our outcomes, on the world. So this idea of stimulus and response, and in the middle is the moment of choice. So that's my challenge to you for this week, to notice your moment of choice, or at least to notice as many of them as your subconscious mind will let you. So this is about encouraging your subconscious and your conscious mind to work together, to collaborate, so that when something happens and you have a moment of choice, you recognize it's a moment of choice and you choose a response instead of showing a reaction. And if you do find yourself thinking, oh, I reacted there, I didn't respond, that's great, you noticed it. And the more you think about it, the more you notice it, the more you'll be able to interrupt those thought habits in the future. It's not easy, and we can't do it all the time. We are all work in progress, but it's a start. So this is the third video in the series, and if you've been putting my challenges into action, you might be noticing some changes in the way you're thinking or behaving. Might be interesting to ask the people around you if they've noticed anything different. It's early days yet, but you may have noticed different things about yourself. I remember going to an art gallery after I had started to educate myself and noticing that all of the religious imagery is all white people and thinking, that actually wasn't the case. So if you're putting into practice the 3 things I've suggested so far, which is seeking different perspectives, trying to overcome the need to be right, and to respond rather than react, you're well on the way to becoming a truly inclusive thinker. So good luck with getting your conscious and subconscious mind to play nicely together this week. As ever, if you found this useful or thought-provoking, please do subscribe. Please do share with people that you think may be interested. And I will look forward to seeing you next week.